When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world.
I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. I'm here with Kotobuki Jake.
Hi.
And we're here to show you what they got. This is our first official video of the new year, airing on Tuesday.
I was about to ask you that. Okay.
Though it's being recorded in 2018, it's going to be put out an entire year later.
Yes. Well, technically speaking, 2019 has begun. You know, I was hearing on the radio, they've already had their celebrations in Australia.
Oh,
and
true. And, but of course, we're also talking about not the first releases. Actually, we're into that. There were not very many first releases of 2019.
No,
I already did that last week,
right.
if you caught our video. It was like, what, 1, 2?
There were three.
Yeah.
There were 3. It was like 2 weeks in a row where there were 3.
So
those brave, foolish souls.
We're back to a decent power release schedule now. And we'll start off, and you go ahead and start us off.
Well, first of all, there's more Gundam.
Always more Gundam.
Yeah, there's always more. This is why I have not fully gotten into the franchise. There's so much of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got like a couple volumes of... I've got the original, and I've got Wing. Right. And I've got... There's another one I've got that's a special, and I've been recommended that because it's really well done. And then that's about it. And otherwise, you can collect it pretty piecemeal.
Yeah. I one of these days I really need to. I have the old Bandai release of Gundam Wing, which was actually pretty good coup when I found it, but I'm sure it's come down in price now that they're reprinting them all.
Like giant Gundam wings.
Yeah, but it'd be nice one of these days to see them. Another notable one of this week, probably the most, I would argue, probably the highest profile new release, at least in terms of movies, mid-90s. I don't know much about this. I've seen the preview. It doesn't look like something I'm going to be super into. However, it is the directorial debut of Jonah Hill. And it is supposedly, I believe, fairly autobiographical.
Is it a drama? I don't know anything about it. So
it's a sort of a coming of age. He apparently was really big into skateboarding in the 90s, and so the film pays homage to that.
Well, skateboarding was big in the 90s.
So a period piece set in the 90s about skateboarders, you know, I mean that's a Scream's big hit there. This was kind of an art house niche film that a lot of people missed, but I am curious. Hill is a talented actor. I don't fully boost both of the Oscar nods that he got. I don't think those were the best performances of those years, but he's a very talented actor. And he also writes the film as well as directing it. So I'm curious to see where he goes with that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Indeed. All right, well, I don't have as much to talk about this time. I've only got like 3 items, and 2 of them are kind of just jokingly. But one of them I am collecting actively, and that is Dragon Ball Super Part 6. I actually have a physical copy of it instead of a picture like we normally put up.
Episodes 66 to 78.
Yep.
Okay.
It's I don't think it's ongoing anymore, but I can't remember. Maybe y'all in the audience can tell me. I know at least one of you is anime centric, so tell me, how much longer do I have on this? I haven't really started watching it yet. I've seen the 2 movies, which is the first part of the series. I'm sure this has gone beyond that at this point. So I mean, part 6. It's Right Stuff sends their stuff a little bit early, so of course I got my copy. Rest of y'all who are waiting for the store shelves, it will be next Tuesday.
And there was a smattering of anime this week, and some of it caught my attention, but not very. Like, I'm a little curious about Twin Star Exorcist, but I believe, isn't that one of the ones that, isn't it Aniplex is like one of those expensive ones that's putting it? I don't know. I could be wrong. Or it could be Funimation. I think
it's Funimation.
It's the bottom one.
Well,
but
it's hard to
like
tell
I said,
from that
that's
cover.
one that I'm more moderately interested in than really invested in. One that I'm a little more interested in, which I know is a funny release, it's part of their Essentials line. One of 3, by my estimation, 3 very high-profile re-releases this week. Funimation is doing an Essentials re-release of Kankole, which is a very popular series that I need to see, that I've been wanting to see. And we've also seen re-releases of 2 classic American comedies, Office Space by Mike Judge and When Harry Met Sally from Rob Reiner. And those are both classics. If you do not have either one, you should rush out and get them. They're probably both overdue for Criterion releases, actually. But, so I'll definitely upgrade when those come out. I have both movies, so I'm not going to rush out and get these editions. But if you don't,
one of the ones I've got that I've had interest in, well, semi-interest in because I've watched a little bit of it, is The Purge.
Sorrel Ginger. It's awesome soda flavor.
Soda flavor for a non-soda.
Yes.
But The Purge, I've seen all but the recent movie. And I have seen the first part of the TV series, which is strange. That's one that's come out that's one of the streaming service series. And it surprises me how quickly it has gone to physical media. Usually those series tend to keep them off of physical media.
Which service is it on?
It's either Hulu or Netflix. I can't remember which one.
I don't feel like Hulu has been keeping them off as long as Netflix has.
That's true, but it depends on series to series. And it's all about the what's the word? It's all about who they get to release. Certain ones get released by certain companies, and sometimes the streaming services will sell the rights to another company. Disney does that. Gravity Falls, for instance, they sold the DVD rights to Shout Factory. Yeah, which. That's fine by me. If you don't want to release it, you don't believe that physical media has a place, Disney, make some money, sell it to these people who want to print your stuff. I'm sure you've already seen how much money that you're making off of that.
And yet it took them so long to do that with those Ghibli films.
Yeah. Well, they sold those. Yeah, they got those rights originally thinking that they could keep them up, and then I guess they decided that they don't feel like they were doing what they should be doing.
Right.
But The Purge, it was decent from what I've seen. I wasn't exactly ecstatic about it, but okay series.
I have not yet seen this series, and frankly, I've not yet seen the first film, The Purge. But I've seen all 3 of the sequels, and I I kind of like it. I like the concept. I like the basic idea. And I will say, all three of the sequels were pretty well executed for the kind of film they are.
Oh, so between the two of us, we've seen the whole.
I know. Well, apparently...
Except for part of the series.
That's what I was going to say, you know. But speaking of horror, really the last one I'm going to mention is not really one I'm going to promote. Well, I will note that there's a Castle Rock, which is apparently produced by Stephen King and J.J. Abrams. We know nothing more about it than that.
Sounds fun.
But yeah, that sounds fun. But one thing that I'm going to include, mainly because I have actually seen this, I'm not entirely surprised that the physical release got buried in January, though. This week sees the official release of the movie Hellfest.
Yay!
Hellfest was not a great film, but it was a heck of a lot better than I expected it to be.
It's not your top 10 for the year?
No, it's not my top 10 for the year. It's actually my least favorite film of the year so far. However, one has to note where that bar lies. And in recent history, the bottom of the barrel is still Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. Any year where the bottom film is above Paul Blart, I at least give that year some credit. And frankly, it's more on the par of...
And yet I have Paul Blart 2 in my collection.
It's not even as bad as Fantastic Four or War Room or some of the others that were near the bottom of my list. It's not bad. I've seen 33 films from 2018. Wow. Being 33 of 33 is not as bad as being 108 of...
Yeah. I've seen less than half of that through the year.
But yeah, so I just wanted to mention, for those of you who missed it in theaters, if you're a fan of the slasher genre, you probably will enjoy it. Whether it's worth picking up on physical release... Yeah.
Yeah, well, so let's see here. Last but not least for me, I just find this amusing, is there is a 2-pack of Karate Kid Part 3 and The Next Karate Kid.
The best of the bunch.
Well, that's my thought, is like, so we took the 2 worst films in the series and packaged them together for your convenience.
Yes, for your convenience. And for your viewing pleasure.
Part 3 was, I've heard, was a fairly lazy sequel. And then The Next Karate Kid has a reputation for being notoriously bad.
Wasn't that like Hilary Swank?
Yeah, I think so. It's
like when she was still pretty young, and
it's just I'm just curious as to what their purpose is in repackaging them. But it's kind of cool to see The Next Karate Kid get life again.
Yeah, I suppose.
It is on my list to get because I've got the other 3 movies and the remake. I really do need to get that to complete the collection. I have a hard time.
You'll have to briefly own a duplicate of the 3rd one.
It would be actually, probably what I'll do is I'll find one of the old copies because it still runs fairly cheaply. If I find it for $1 or so, I'll probably grab it.
But for those completionists of you who do not have either of these 2, there you go.
And you wanted them on Blu-ray.
Yes, exactly. Is that it?
That's it for me.
I think that's it. Yeah, again, this is kind of a light week. It does have an interesting assortment and not a bad assortment overall.
Yeah, we're getting ramped up.
We're getting back into, there's some big releases, February, March. There's some good ones coming up. So,
well, I guess that's it. And, of course, like, subscribe, share. I am hoping that 2019 is the year we get over 100. Actually, let's hope for even more than that. But let's at least get to 100. We need about 5 more. But let's get that subscriber count going. You know a friend who likes movies or just wants to lazily subscribe to stuff? have them sign up.
Yeah.
I can't even get family to sign up for this darn stuff.
Buy all our playsets and toys!
Maybe it's something we're doing.
All right, well, have a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.